Welcome to this week's episode of Choosing Us. We're back.
We're here.
We are here. Are you here? That's the question. Are you ready to show up and are you ready to listen to what we have for you today? Because today is super important.
This is a huge topic that people don't always think about. It's not one of those basics that I think is a normal conversation in relationships that people understand the severity of it.
One thing you've got to understand is your words are like bullets. Once fired, you can't take them back. I don't care how many times you apologize. I don't care what you do to try and make amends. Once words are said, it's done. So you best be wise as to the words you use.
It's not normal for people to think before they speak, especially in some conversations where things get heated and you get angry and emotions get involved, and then you speak and you say things before you think it through, and then you end up saying really hurtful things.
Yeah. People forget that words have so much power, even if they weren't meant the way they came out. And here's the thing. There's so many times where you can say something with one intention and it is received with another intention. You cannot control how other people receive your words. You can only control the words you say. So you should probably know the person well enough to know how they're going to receive what you say.
Now, this conversation came about from a really difficult conversation in Brad and I's marriage. And personally, for me, one of the hardest conversations we have had in our 10 years together. And it sucked. And we debated on talking about it.
We had a conversation. Should we discuss this topic, yes or no? And we feel that you as the listener, there is somebody that needs to hear this conversation, that needs to hear what we went through, the lessons we learned, and how we became better for it. Long story short, I screwed up.
Yeah.
The too long didn't read version.
Yeah.
Brad screwed up pretty bad.
Yeah. Not on purpose. Not at all. There was no malicious intent. There was no negative intent at all in how this happened. And it just happened. And it wasn't on purpose. But I still got hurt.
Mm-hmm. And this goes off of the, you better control what you say because you cannot decide how it's received. What is that statement? Your external words become their internal words type conversation. So we'll lay out this story for you as it happened. And we'll go back about a year and a half ago. I've got this friend, and this friend and I, we've been friends our whole lives, literally our whole lives. We were diaper buddies. And this person and I, she's my oldest friend. And Michaela and I both have lived all over the country. We've bounced around like crazy. So our length of years for longest friends isn't super long. Now I've lived in Utah going on 21 years. Or no, going on 22 years. So I have some friends that are 22-year-old friendships. I got a few friendships like that. But this friendship is north of 30 years. I'm almost 35, and I've been friends with her probably 32 years of that 35. And so early in the morning, I was getting up to do my reading, do my studies. She messaged me on social. It was a really random message, and it was something to the effect of, I really look up to you guys. I love your relationship. If if the time came in our lives when your wife passed away and my husband passed away, I would be 100% open to being together. And I didn't think much of it at the time. And I responded with, and she said, I hope that does not come across weird or odd. I just felt like I needed to get that out. I said, it's not weird or odd. And I feel the same way. We've been friends for a very long time. And if that ever happened, we're all safe, healthy, and happy. But if that ever happened, yeah, I'd be totally open to being together. And the moment I pressed send, I said, oh, crap. I said, oops. I think I just crossed a line. I think I just messed up. Pretty bad. And I felt terrible because that was not the intention. It was no intention of cheating on Michaela or having thoughts of a different relationship other than Michaela, any of these things. None of that was the intention when the message was sent. It was very innocent. And I'm sitting there and I can't take it back. It's been said now. And so she came down the stairs after waking up, and it's just gnawed at me. And one thing that we've said in the show before is I do not keep secrets. I do not. If I say if I interact with a woman, Michaela knows. If I interact with women at the gym, she knows. If I interact with women at work, she knows. If I interact with women at all, I tell her about the conversations because I never want her to receive something out of context. Or I've got a lot of gym sisters, tons of gym sisters. I'm very comfortable with women. I was raised with my sisters and my mom for the most part. And so my conversations with women are pretty candid. And so Michaela is very aware of all of these. And there's been times in the past where she's like, you probably crossed the line. She goes, you're innocent. Your statement of that is innocent, but you can't interpret their thoughts. And she's corrected me a few times. I'm like, I probably shouldn't do that one. That was probably a little much. And that is a communication style that we have. And so this message went back and forth. And I told Michaela, and I said, this happened. I showed her the message. And
honestly, I was crushed. I was taken back. I had a really hard time with it. Remembering back to this, I didn't say much at that moment. I had to process it. And because I knew that it was fully innocent, that there was nothing going on, that nothing was meant by it. And I was like, yeah, like that wasn't okay. And then I remember later on sitting at the counter and just being like, listen, like this is still gnawing at me. This is still.
Well, she says at the counter, this is days later.
Yeah.
When we had this conversation.
Yeah. Because I kind of just was like, yeah, that probably wasn't okay. Like I had to process it, I think. And it was a few days later where I was like, I'm still stuck on this. This hasn't passed. I'm not okay with this. And honestly, I was really, really hurt. And that was 8 years into our relationship, and we had never experienced anything like this. So I was totally taken back. And I feel like at first, like you knew that it was like something that shouldn't have happened, but it wasn't to the seriousness that I took it for you. You were like, sorry, I screwed up like this. I shouldn't have said this. But then a few days later, when I came back to you, I feel like it sunk in more for both of us. Mm-hmm. And it honestly got to a point because this is one of your friends who you've had your whole life. And I knew about your guys' conversations, and she's
all
a good
of them,
friend.
By the way.
Yeah, every single
I
conversation.
Tell Michaela, every single one.
Yeah.
I tell her I spoke with this person. This is what we talked about. And I've never wanted her to think for any split second that anything nefarious was happening.
Yeah. And so I was okay with that. We'd had tons of conversations, and I was following her. And honestly, I actually had to stop following her on social media because as innocent as it was, I could not look at her without seeing the two of you together.
which hurt.
And
hurt me.
that was just one sentence.
Mm-hmm.
One sentence between the two of you. And I was hurt for a while. And I couldn't look at her without seeing that. And it was hard. And we had tons and tons and tons of conversations about this. And it's definitely something that you have to be open, and it's the conversations that you don't want to have, that you have to have with your partner,
Right.
even when it sucks. Don't hold it back. Don't, just because you know that what you are going to say might hurt your partner. It might really suck. You have to have these conversations to grow, to learn, and to strengthen your relationship even more. If you are hiding things from your partner because you're scared of hurting them, stop. Because you have to have these conversations. And our relationship has never been better. We have open conversations every single day.
That one, and you can go off of it was completely innocent. I don't need to tell her. There was no cheating. There was none of that thought process. And some people might feel that way, but that's not how I think. That's not how I view things. I view things as if I feel like I'm keeping it from her, now I'm lying. Now I'm cheating. Now I've crossed another line. That's not how I operate. That's not how you should operate. You should operate by always being open and honest in everything that you say. And because of this situation, we now know, one, we can handle it. But two, our trust level for each other grew substantially. If you just go back a few minutes and listen to the fact that it was hard for me to say, but she came back days later to continue the conversation on a whole different level, smacking me pretty hard.
But part of that is the trust level went down a few steps, and it had to go down a little bit to get better.
Yeah.
We had to go through this experience and me start questioning a few things and be unsure and be like, hey, what's actually going on here? Like, is this innocent? Start asking questions, and then building up that trust even stronger than it was before.
Yeah. The moral of the story and the thing to take away from is to always have open conversations, even when you know it's going to hurt the other person. If not anything, it's more important to have that conversation if you know it's going to hurt them. And this is not me trying to tear Michaela down. This is me being completely transparent about everything. There is zero secrets between us. None. Zilch. Nada.
Yep.
And that's on purpose.
And another side of this that I think a lot of people should think on is go to this situation. What if I had acted a different way? What if you had been super nervous, not wanting to have this conversation?
Which I was, and which I didn't.
And coming up to me and gaining the strength to be like, listen, this happened. What if I had freaked out? I had lost it. I'd be like, are you kidding me? What the heck? Like attacking you because of something that happened innocently, which a lot of couples do this.
Mm-hmm.
They get defensive. They freak out. It was an accident. It was innocent. It was not on purpose. What if something does happen on purpose? How are you going to react?
Right.
If your partner is being super vulnerable with you and doing something that is really hard to tell you, which they screwed up. If they come to you and they're like, I'm so sorry, I screwed up. We need to talk. You need to take a step back, take a breath, and listen and not overreact. And that's going to be so hard. in some situations.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to want to scream. You're going to want to yell because you're hurt. You are hurt by the person that you are closest to. You have to be able to be like, okay, this sucks. How do we move past this? How do we work through this? What does that look like for me? What does that look like for you? If your immediate instinct is to attack your partner or to freak out or to let your emotions take control of the situation, you're already going to lose communication. You're already going to take a few steps back. And the next time maybe something happens, how much is your partner really going to want to come and tell you when they have something vulnerable that they're like, oh, crap, I got to go tell my partner. Like, I got to go tell my wife. They're not going to want to come to you again.
Nope.
If you're together for 30, 40, 50, 60 years, you're going to not be perfect. None of us are perfect. So, are you allowing your partner, are you being a safe space for your partner to come to you and be like, listen, this happened. And then you need to respond from a calm, collected space and be like, you really hurt me. This is not okay. I'm not okay with this. And we need to figure out what's next.
Mm-hmm.
That's how you go about it. Instead of blowing up and freaking out, because then the next time something happens, I can tell you your partner's not going to want to come to you with it because they know how you reacted last time.
Right. And a little side tangent on this. We're speaking on being transparent and truthful in all that you say. But a little side tangent. When somebody asks you how you're doing and you say, I'm fine. That's a load of crap.
My favorite quote from the Italian Job.
Yeah.
You're not fine. What does fine stand for? Do you remember?
I don't.
Freaked out, insecure, neurotic, emotional. It's the best line from Italian Job.
That's right. I'm fine.
Yep. You're not fine. Stop using those words with your partner in your relationship.
And if you are fine, cool, but elaborate.
Right.
Oh, I'm okay. No worries. I'm fine. That's a different way of saying I'm fine.
Right.
Just flat, neutral. I don't want to talk to you. That's a stone wall.
Another way that you could put it, if you really don't want to talk, if it's not the right circumstance, if you are in a coffee shop or out at a restaurant or somewhere where there's tons of people and you don't want to have these conversations, be like, I'm actually not doing great right now, but I would like to talk about it more in depth later.
Yeah.
There's other ways to tell your partner this without lying. If your partner is asking you how you are doing, tell them the truth.
The reason why they're asking is that they can read your body language. 55% of our communication, or thereabouts, is body language. They can tell you're not okay. That's why they're asking, are you okay? How are you? When you say I'm fine, you're just lying to their face. So what kind of trust does that instill? Not much.
Yeah. And is your partner really going to keep asking you? If they know every single time they ask, how are you doing? You say, I'm fine. I'm pretty sure they're going to stop asking you.
And they're not going to believe you when you say things.
Yeah.
Because you're not speaking truth. You're not being transparent.
It doesn't have to be a long conversation, but be honest. Even with your friends and your family. If your family's asking you, how are you doing? Don't be like, I'm good. If really inside you are freaking struggling. You can say, you know what? I'm not doing great right now. I'm actually kind of struggling, but we're getting through it.
I used to live in the South, and one thing that I loved was if you go up to somebody and say, how are you? One, you only ask that to somebody you actually know. They get a little bit sidetracked if you ask them, how are you today? And they don't know. You're like, kind of confused why you're asking. But most people, if you say, how are you doing today? You better be ready for a story because they're going to tell you. On the West Coast, how are you today? Good, fine. It's just a way of passing by somebody saying hi. I love that about the South. That was one of my favorite things. How are you today? I want to hear your story. I want to know what's going on in your world. And it's so cool and so refreshing. That should be the same way in your relationship. That's how you should be. How are you? And genuinely respond.
So next time you catch yourself saying, I'm fine, when you're really not fine, maybe even try and stop using those words for a little bit. If you're good, if you're awesome, if you're doing great, say, I'm great. I'm having a great day. I'm doing really good. Use those words. And then guess what? If you are struggling, be honest with people. Let people in. Take I'm fine out of your vocabulary. Let people in. Be vulnerable. And say, you know what? I'm kind of having a crappy day right now, but I'm getting through it. Let people in.
Stop putting up walls. Tear down walls.
Especially with your partner. There shouldn't be any walls.
None. So have this conversation with your partner. Have all the conversations with your partner. Have the difficult conversations with your partner. They are the most important. You will grow the most from them. Are they scary? Absolutely. Are they necessary? Most definitely. And you will grow. And will you be perfect in your life? No, you won't. But the farther away you stay from the edge, the closer to the mountain you are, the farther you are away from danger.
You have to have these hard conversations with your partner. You have to be vulnerable with your partner to grow. If you want an incredible relationship, it takes work. It is not a day by day, just do the same thing over and over again. It is having the tough conversations. It is working to be better each and every day. That is how you build a stronger relationship, and how you create an incredible marriage is by work. Work every single day. And share this. Share these episodes with your friends and your family, with someone you know who needs to hear this. Let them know. Share it with them.
It's the only way it grows. We don't advertise. We do word of mouth exclusively. So we appreciate it when you share them. It is awesome to hear. Thank you for listening. Thank you for tuning in, and grow. That's why we do this. It's the purpose in doing this. So like this, subscribe to it, download it for future listenings. Until next week, we love you guys. Bye.